Alright, you guys, welcome to another episode of Inside the Mind of a Young Entrepreneur. Today, it's let me just take a look. It's the 16th of September. It's a Tuesday morning. And just for the first few hours of this morning, I've just been sitting down reading Traffic Secrets because that is a thing that I need to understand in order to put it in to the ecosystem overview. So yeah, I've basically been reading about like who my dream customer is and where they are congregating by implementing the Dream 100 principle. And this is a pretty new concept to me because before I was just used to jumping in straight into the DMs, sliding into it, and then just writing some random words, a script that I found on the internet, hoping that somehow would stick. But it's really like relieving to find a completely new approach to this, because like when I worked with the agency, like I wasn't doing as much outreach as I did before. So it's fun to do that now again and like just sit down and really dive deep in the craft of this again and finding new approaches. So that's basically what I've been doing today, and just like enjoying my mornings. Like it was a rainy morning, so it's quite cozy just sitting and reading. And it's the thing is, what I really want to talk about in this video is somewhat, it's probably a paradox, but like this thing of when you are sitting down and studying, or you're pausing up, basically what I'm doing now, creating my ecosystem. It feels like a paradox because I feel like I'm not pursuing something, that I'm not putting in the reps and getting myself out there. And it feels kind of counterproductive because I feel like this is just a coping mechanism. And on the flip side, when I produce and produce and produce and produce, it feels like I don't have a clear direction, and I feel like I'm doing everything wrong and I'm not doing it in the right way that I really wanted to begin with. So it's constantly this paradox of running to the one way to producing, the other way to stopping up and seeing where I'm going. But I tend to learn that this is just a part of the process. And what I'm more conscious about is like always be consistent in the things that I do. So every day, like this is the episode or the series that I've created, Inside the Mind of a Young Entrepreneur. This is basically forcing me to produce content and get out there to you guys in some way. So like I'm at least doing something, even though that I'm not sitting and writing DMs every single day. And again, like the reason why I'm not doing that is because I'm learning these new approaches to this book. I'm basically erasing all the past ideas and thoughts I had about this and beliefs, and just letting myself fully commit to that book and just do what the fuck it says, like just plugging my head off, put it under my arm and just go out there. And as I'm starting to see a rhythm with this, like I try to see where can I elsewhere implement these systems, so I just follow so I can be consistent. It's really a thing that I learned from Russell Brunson. He knew he had to post content and get out there to his Dream 100 and like serve his tribe. But in order for him to do that, he needed to be consistent. And first he thought of that he should start a podcast. And like he thought he should have this big show with the microphones and sitting in front of a desk with a fancy background and putting on guests into his podcast. But he knew already from the get-go that he would not be consistent with this. He couldn't commit and be consistent and do that every single day. So he did another thing in order for him to force himself to be committed and do things consistently, because that beats, like, consistency beats perfectionism. And that's also a thing that I've been battling with lately. But that aside, so what he did instead is that every time he drove a 5-minute drive to his office from his home, he just took his phone and started talking about random business advice or marketing advice, and then took the sound file and uploaded it to Spotify or some kind of podcast platform. And that's basically what he did for, I don't know, between 5 to 10 years. And for the first 3 years, he told me that, or he said that he couldn't even see like how many people who were watching it or listening to him, and he felt like that would also be the thing that would stop him from doing it, because then he would feel like the pressure of it, or that he was not doing good enough, and then his consistency would lack. So that's why he turned off all the notifications and just did this thing mindlessly, and all of a sudden, like, it just clicked for him. And that's again putting in the work, being consistent with things, and then it will compound. I heard Sam Ovens talk about that most people, whenever they get going with business and they get traction, all of a sudden they start to do different things because they don't realize that it was the work that they did in the first place that actually made them be successful with this. But because they don't realize it, they think like they just did in that moment before they got the momentum, it was the thing. So they try to alliterate on these things and do different approaches to what actually got them there. And that's where when they just got the momentum, it suddenly starts to drop again. So that's why I have been focusing really much on being consistent and like shutting my brain off and just focusing on that you will overestimate how much you will achieve in 1 year, but you will underestimate how much you will achieve in 10 years. And it's basically just being, I feel like I have this sense of urgency every time I wake up to do something. Even though back of the mind, I know this is a marathon, not a sprint. So that's why I have the urgency, because if I don't get things done quickly and crammed into each day, like my days, like the way, it's hard to explain this, but the way that it works, most people, like it will take long, this journey will take long, but if you can be more urgent and do things faster and faster and get more, produce more, and do so much volume that it would be unreasonable for you to not succeed, that's when you will just shorten that period of time like crazy. And I'm not saying that this will be overnight success, but you will definitely, if it would take 10 years, you will definitely cut 5 years off. That's my opinion. And I'm in the middle of that right now, or in the beginning. But now, like, I am aware of this, and that's why I'm just putting in the reps. I heard Mr. Beast say, like, your first 100 YouTube videos, nobody is going to view them. Nobody's going to watch them. And I've got a couple of views, but like nobody's going to watch them. That's just the essence of it. And then he said, after your first 100 videos, then we can start talking and see how we can improve things. But everything's just about consistency and putting up these systems in order for you to put in the reps. And that's why like yesterday, I tried to create this system around how I can post reels daily. So what I found out that I've learned this thing in order to keep my copywriting skills sharp, like writing skills. I have this copy exercise where I need to come up with one big idea every single day. I have to read and analyze one piece of copy every single day, and I have to write a piece of copy every single day. So instead of me just writing random pieces of copy, and instead of me coming up with random pieces of big ideas, I could just like channel that into my own like advantage. And then instead, what I do now is that I come up with a big idea inside my new opportunity. Then I list that, and every day of the week I write one reel that I can post on my Instagram. And then I've set a date in one date in the week where I can like film all the videos, edit them, and upload them like each day throughout the next week. So that's the system that I've built for myself now in order to stay consistent with this other thing. And it's always just putting up these systems and finding ways that you can stay consistent. And again, with my thumbnails for this video, I know that it's so important to have a thumbnail, but for me to building a asset where I've already what I did is that I made a template for my thumbnails now, and I'll just be following that because one thumbnail is better than not having one. That's just a fact. So that's why I made a template. So the thing is, you'll put in so much work in the beginning, but then it will become assets. And that's again the essence of what I'm doing. There's so much lessons in what I'm telling you now, so you better listen up because it's about building frameworks, and it will take so much effort in the start. Basically, building your offer, it will take so long. You have to test things out. But after you've done that, it's just basically plug and play and you can start running with it. I've put so much effort and time into the offer that I've built now. And now it's only time for me to let that run, and I can put that back in every single time. And a thing that I also heard from Russell Brunson, or I can't remember if it was Alex Hormozi, but it was like he had a student where they were selling, or I can't really remember what it was. It was some accountant, but they had all these templates for how, they used in private in their own business for how they would qualify a lead, or I can't remember if it was creating contracts for their deals, but it was all of a sudden that they've put all this work to use it in their own business, and now they were to create another offer. They could just take this thing because that was a thing that has demand. People wanted that thing, so they just implemented in that offer, and they've used a bunch of time to create this thing, but after all this time, they can just plug and play it every single time and multiply this thing. So you'll put so much effort into it at the start, and then it will just compound and you can start connecting those puzzles. So yeah, that was a lot of information, but it's just these things, they just fascinate me, and that's why I'm willing to put in the hard work, because for me, it's not if I will be successful. It sounds cocky, but that's the things that I think to myself. It's not the matter if I will be successful. It's only the matter when, because when I'm doing so much volume and taking so much ruthless action, even though my mind is just screaming on me, don't do this, you will, that will happen, so all these sorts of things that you don't want. I'm just dimming down that noise and doing the action, because I knew if I can do so much if I do so much volume, that it will be unreasonable that I won't be successful. So that's why it's a question of when and not if that makes sense. That was a bit of preaching for you guys. I think that was it for this video. There was a ton of value hidden in all this talking, and I hope you found some value in it. And I'm basically just what the title says, sharing my thoughts inside the mind of a young entrepreneur. And that was it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Peace. Bye.